And we're live with another episode of BS Busters. And before we go any further, let's introduce ourselves. So let's let the lady go first.
I'm going to be practicing that bell until I get it right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is Jory Lemons of the Gaming Mage. Hi, welcome to the BS Busters, and it's about time we get into some news.
All right, folks. And Pinky?
This is Piggy Dog from Video Game Facts. Currently, I'm having a bit of a headache right now, so I won't be as concentrated as much.
That's okay. Sometimes you got to go with the flow. All right, so let's get to it. I guess we can start with Microsoft's. Well, let's get Sony out the way first. So this week, Sony had a big news press conference or a release where they basically gave PlayStation owners the news that the PS4 has sold how much?
I don't know. Is it around 60 million?
No, 86 million to the PS3's 80 million. Sorry, 83 million. So now who here actually believes that sales number?
I 100% doubt.
Yeah, I doubt it as well. Besides, I thought the PS4 sold over 100 million.
Huh. Let's see.
But I could be wrong.
I mean, these days we really cannot trust Sony and their reports, financial reports, especially with this recent article that was shared by one of our contributors talking about how Sony is afraid of Nintendo and Microsoft. I'll see if I can post it here in this chat. Here it is.
Sony's afraid of everything.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Basically, their goal is to assert monopoly status over the entire gaming industry.
Yeah, well, that's not happening.
And is why they created second upper queue uncountable rating systems that they themselves only control, that only they can take advantage of.
Yeah, I think that's going to backfire on them. Because Nintendo tried the same thing, remember? Back in the day.
A bit, though.
In the early 90s?
No, after the NES, Nintendo tried to do the same thing with the SNES and even with the N64. Like, try to control the market. And over time, like, as time goes on, every major console manufacturer who at one time had a monopoly in an industry, eventually they try to take it over, and then it falls apart on them. Sega tried after the Sega Genesis, it failed. Atari tried after the original 2600. Was it 2300? Yeah, 2400. That failed. It's just.
It kind of shows how things are not always in one person's control, right?
Well, I mean, the thing is like, okay, you shouldn't expect things to stay the same. You know, shit's gonna change. That's life. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would be weird if, you know, whatever. But with Sony, yeah, they're afraid. They're afraid that their next home console isn't going to sell as well as the PS4 did. Because their business model is built upon licensing fees and membership and getting PlayStation membership. Getting people to pay $60 for a shitty online service. And that's how they're, barely breaking even with the PlayStation.
And I've been seeing commercials from Adult Swim advertising their TV app, PlayStation TV, done by the same guys who create Robot Chicken.
Why am I not surprised?
This shit's about money.
Makes me wonder when they'll eventually be caught with their shady tactics, like the public at least.
Sony's pretty much insulated. I mean, the only time they get called out is when it's egregious, like with the crossplay thing.
And then Sony caved into the crossplay.
Yeah, but I mean, it still was kind of,
forced.
Yeah. So. It's kind of like when your girlfriend says, hey, there's something I want to do. And you're like, well, I really don't feel comfortable doing that. But she forces you. I mean, you're not going to be nearly as enthusiastic as if, you weren't forced into it.
All right. So when does the PS1 Mini come out? Did it already came out?
I don't think it's out yet, but there have been people who've been testing it, and from what I've seen, it's pretty bare bones.
And from what I've been hearing, it's also hackable.
Oh yeah, it uses open source emulation engine. Like they couldn't even be bothered to actually use the original to use hardware emulation, which is just sad. That's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
But it is Sony, so can't say I'm surprised.
I think we can move on to Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft's illustriously, from what I heard, shitty.
I was originally going to plan on watching the XO18 event, but I decided not to. Just in case nothing interesting was shown, like a possible revival of the Banjo-Kazooie series, plus a teaser trailer for their announcement of it appearing in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as DLC.
Here's my question: would you seriously trust? Would you trust Microsoft as it is right now to make a Banjo-Kazooie sequel?
Not that I have to think about.
So long as current Rare is not involved.
Yeah, but would you trust a new studio to make that game?
Not so much. Though there have been developers who know the philosophy, like Iron Galaxy was able to catch the feel of the Killer Instinct series with the new Killer Instinct game.
Yeah, but that's like that's like a rare occurrence, you know.
Not to mention the upcoming battle. Everyone's excited for the new Battletoads game that's being made by a different development studio.
Yeah, I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't like it very much.
Even if they tone down the difficulty to make it more fair.
No, I just don't trust Microsoft as it is right now to I don't trust it. I just don't.
To make a good quality game.
Yeah, I'm very.
Iffy.
I'm extraordinarily skeptical, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm always skeptical. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm always skeptical about all this shit. What can I say? I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to Microsoft because they haven't earned the right to be given the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it recently came out that they bought In Exile and Obsidian Entertainment, right? And people are saying, well, I mean, they say they're going to be hands off with them. You mean how they were hands off with Rare and they ran that into the ground too? Or maybe they'll give them quote unquote help and run them into the ground like they did Fable. I mean, Lionhead Studios.
Well, wasn't the
Only hope.
buying Obsidian already
What?
debate back in E3 2018?
What?
Didn't Microsoft already announce that the buying out Obsidian back in E3?
No. No, this only recently came out.
Huh.
No, this only recently came out like a few weeks ago that they were working. Microsoft said they were buying studios at E3, but we didn't know what studios they were buying. And like I said, I don't trust Microsoft to own a studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a very, how can I put this nicely without sounding like a
Skeptical?
dick? Yeah, I'm very skeptical of Microsoft when it comes to gaming. Like I'm extraordinarily skeptical. Like I don't trust them. I mean, and I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that. Oh, what do you mean? How can you not trust Microsoft? It's very easy not to trust Microsoft in gaming because they haven't earned the benefit of the doubt. Like Microsoft, like, okay, name a studio aside from the Forza studio that's doing well under Microsoft. Like the quality of their work is on par or better than what it used to be before Microsoft bought them.
Well, we can't say Bungie Studios since they left Microsoft.
Yeah, but even the ruins of Bungie Studios is kind of shitty, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't like 343 Studios isn't as good as when they were Bungie. Like, they were all just Bungie, you know? And frankly, I mean, like people who make this argument, well, Microsoft will give them a lot of money. Like, the money argument doesn't work because they gave Rare a lot of money, and yet Rare Rare sucks under Microsoft. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're going to give them a lot of money to make the games they want to make. Yeah, I'm not taking that bet because I don't trust them. But for those of you watching, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave questions in the chat section and we'll answer them later on if we get to them. So, but yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust Microsoft. Is there anyone else who anything else you guys want to say about the Microsoft Xbox experience? From what I heard, it was boring.
Nothing else. And I heard the same thing. It was a complete bore fest outside of the new KH3 trailer that came out from it.
And you have to be a Kingdom Hearts fan to have given a shit about that. So,
No kidding on that.
and the thing that gets me is like, why is Microsoft trying so hard to get people to give a shit about Kingdom Hearts 3 when you know that isn't going to be, it's going to sell the lowest on the Xbox One?
Simple, because they want to try to at least say that they really get gamers.
I mean, that's like Nintendo saying, "Hey guys, we got like having a big thing to show off Xbox. I don't know. Let's see, what's some type of shitty game that might come to the what's some game that might come to the that could come to the Switch, but would not sell well. Okay, it's like if Nintendo said, "Hey guys, we're getting GTA 5." Do you honestly, even if GTA 5 came to the Switch, it would probably be the lowest selling version of GTA 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why even, you know, I don't get it.
Oh yeah, and I should mention that today is the 10th anniversary of Nuts and Bolts.
Who wants to screw with that?
And that's absolutely nothing worth celebrating. Because Nuts and Bolts sucked. I mean, I think we can all essentially say that most of the Rare games that have come out since Rare has been bought by Microsoft have been, like, by and large, very more misses than hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. Probably not, but I would love to be, you know?
Whatever happened to that one VR device that Microsoft was advertising?
You mean the HoloLens?
Yeah, the one that comes with the new Conquer game, Young Conquer. I believe that's what's called.
Well, man, you know that game got canceled. You know that game got fucking canceled. Ain't nobody buying that shit.
So I've been hearing it already came out and it was pretty decent for a platformer.
What, Young Conquer?
Yeah.
No, that got canceled. Yeah.
VR platforming is kind of dizzying to me as far as I could tell. Like, you're trying to, it's like you're moving every second, and camera is you.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like certain things you can kind of get away with it. Other things you can't.
Yeah. Though, if anything, I recently remember seeing about a music beat game that has you use your control sticks to try to make the music.
Like, I'll give you an example. If you did a kind of like a Metroid Prime game in VR, it could work because that doesn't require precise platforming. Or Doom or something like that. Like, that doesn't require precise platforming. But if you're doing something that requires precision, I would advise against it. But then again, I advise against everything, so. But I could be wrong. These things have been wont to happen. I'm probably not, but I could be. Because anything is possible. But anyone have anything else they want to add about Microsoft before we move on to the big end?
Just reading that the Microsoft HoloLens hasn't released a consumer version of it yet.
Yeah, man, that shit got canceled, man. Microsoft just doesn't want to admit that it failed, but
they failed.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree that that is not coming out.
At least not anytime soon.
I guess we can move on to the next company, Square Enix. That one we could have a ball discussing about. For most of Final Fantasy 15's DLC plans have been canceled.
Oh boy.
You mean 75% of it?
Yeah.
Which you're right, that is most of it. It's a shame when people just don't care.
Because its director just left Square Enix.
Yeah, I think they fired him. I think they were like, look, you can either resign or we'll fire you. And they made him fall on his sword because of bad management. Because Final Fantasy 15, the game that eventually became Final Fantasy 15, should have came out towards the end of the PS2's life cycle or the beginning of the PS3's. Like, that should not have skipped an entire console generation.
No kidding there.
Because think about it. Almost every console up to the PS2 got at least 3 Final Fantasies. Like the NES got 3 Final Fantasies, the SNES got 3 Final Fantasies, the PlayStation 1 got 3 Final Fantasies. Well, 7, 8, 9, yeah, it's 3. Then the PS2 comes and we get 2.
Because the third one was PC only.
Well, I mean, I don't think the MMOs count, really. You know?
Yeah.
And now Square Enix is losing money. Let me check how many they lost.
33 million.
You think that's enough for the company to struggle?
Well, the thing is that 33 million of an extraordinary loss, which means extraordinary means that this isn't like, okay, you know how Nintendo had the Wii U and they had to lower their profit forecast, but they were still making a profit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that happens in businesses. Like you might project, okay, we're going to make 100 million this year. But then you're like, okay, we had to revise our profit forecast. We're gonna make 75 million. So they would say there's a profit. We had to revise our profit forecast by 25 million. But that's not an extraordinary loss. An extraordinary loss is we were expecting to make 20 million, but instead we were operating at a loss of below what our profit was proposed to be. So even though they're saying they lost 33 million, they're running at a $33 million loss. It's probably more than that because that's also taking away from what the profit they were expecting to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, they are. They're up shit's creek.
At this rate, they'll better be hoping that their DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate sells enough to balance that, or else.
What DLC character?
Oh, because there is a supposed rumor that one of the 5 DLC characters is going to be a Square Enix character, and nobody knows who it's going to be because of Square Enix's strict policy on leaks.
Well, if they're smart, it'll be Chrono from Chrono Trigger.
Or a Dragon Ball character.
Iffy.
Here's the problem with Dragon Quest. There is no central character from Dragon Quest who is eponymous with the series except for the slime. And it would be really hard to make a slime into a playable character in Smash Brothers. You could probably do it, but it would be really weird.
I mean, there have been Dragon Quest games starring the slime before.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just saying it would be kind of weird. Like if you're looking for a humanoid character, like there is no central humanoid character for Dragon Quest except for maybe Tornico, the merchant. But I mean, like who wants to play as a fat middle-aged guy hitting people with a abacus rod? You know. Although that might be a fun Smash character. Okay, we have a question from Trinell83. Does Microsoft know the type of games their players play in their medium? Would Microsoft use these studios that are bought out to branch out to other genres other than racing and shooters? If Microsoft's Xbox division was run well, but probably not. Like, here's the thing. If Microsoft were smart, they would say, look, In Exile, Obsidian, you can continue making the stuff you make, except none of it's going to come to PlayStation. But with In Exile, they'd say, look, you guys came up with the Bard's Tale, you support that, but we also want you guys to work on Fable. Like, it's a no-brainer because In Exile makes RPGs. They know how to make RPGs, so they could totally do something cool with Fable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just me. I guess we can move on to the next little bit of news, which is Nintendo.
Well, what did they get into this time? There.
Nothing.
Oh, they just released the YouTube app on their Switch.
Yeah, they finally got the YouTube app.
Oh, hallelujah.
which I only have one thing to say. All right, for people who keep on saying that the Switch is their next handheld, that's bullshit. Because if the Switch was Nintendo's next handheld, it would have launched with the YouTube app. And the reason I say it probably would have launched with the YouTube app is because the 3DS launched with, if not a YouTube app, it had a web browser.
So didn't the Wii and the Wii U launch with a web browser as well?
Mm-hmm. The Wii, the Wii U, and the DS, I mean the 3DS, all launched with web browsers, and I think YouTube came to the 3DS relatively quickly, and Netflix. So if you're telling me that the Switch is the successor, then it's a shitty successor to the 3DS, because there's shit my 3DS can do that the Switch is still incapable of doing. So stop saying stupid shit like that. That's my point. Anything you guys would like to add about Nintendo adding the YouTube app?
Nothing much, since I don't use it as often.
All right. Jewel?
I'll be all right.
Okay. I guess I'll give my final thoughts on it. The more features, like here's the thing. The days of a video game console just playing games is, even though I don't personally like that, like game consoles have all this other extraneous shit that takes away from the gameplay potential. You know, when you're spending $400, $500, $600, $700 on these consoles, you know, after you get the games and the peripherals and all that other shit, you want it to be able to do other shit besides just sticking a disc in it or a cartridge and playing a game. So, I mean, it's nice that, you know, they're adding extra features to the thing. So now when you have your Switch with you and you go someplace and you're like, oh, I went to the movies and it's extra early, and I don't feel like playing a game right now because the games I have on here are maybe RPGs and extra involved. No, I think I'll watch a YouTube video for a little bit until the movie starts, or, you know, I got to kill like 30 minutes, something like that. So smart move. You know, you can go on your YouTube and put in Mr. Red Fox's BS Busters and watch a Red Fox video.
Finally. Sorry, I was taking on that boss I was talking about earlier. Finally beat them.
See, I had to do the shameless plug. But anyway, so I wanted Alex to be here, but apparently he couldn't make it. So instead, we have a little bit of time. Any extra news you guys want to bring up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sakurai just tweeted in English for the, like, very rarely has he ever tweeted in English. He usually tweets it in his Japanese language.
Mm-hmm.
That all 5 of the DLC characters for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has been decided. They were all the following characters chosen were selected by Nintendo, and Sakurai chose about 5 of them.
Okay.
So, and he also warned everyone not to constantly spam character requests for him, since they've already decided who the characters are going to be.
Well, you know what this means.
Oh God, more Smash.
No. This is actually a positive thing. When those come out, if Smash Brothers Ultimate sells well enough, you might get a second round of characters like in the next year. You know, DLC characters like not next year, but the year after that might come out. That they might, you know, like, well, you for $25 you get these 5, and then for another $25 the next year you get another 5 characters.
It depends on how it rolls, but if anything, usually we only see one round of DLC from Nintendo if we're lucky.
It depends if it'll continue for more than one season.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because they kind of did that with Mario Kart 8, where like basically like you had your first season, your first pack, your first DLC pack, and then like a year later, like 6-8 months later, you have another DLC pack. So, I mean, if it sells well enough, they might do that. You know, they might say, hey, you know, these DLC characters, like a lot of people are playing this game. Let's do another 5 and we'll, you know, same price, you know. I wouldn't be averse to that. Because I have a feeling this is probably going to be Sakurai's last Smash Brothers, so why not go out on the bang? You know?
Yeah. At least let the guy get some Z, because he looks like he's drained his batteries.
Well, at least his arms aren't falling off like last time. They should have had him do like a SNL style skit where he's like, I'm trying my best, and like they have like the fake arms, someone rips them off. No, not my arms. That would have been funny.
That would have been
anyway,
silly for sure.
But anyway, that's anything else anyone wants to discuss before we get to the inevitable end of the podcast?
I'm all right.
Let's see if any other news. Oh
okay.
yeah, and continuing on the Smash, Sakurai also said that manga characters are not allowed.
Good. So that means no Goku, no Naruto,
no Luffy.
No Luffy. Even though Luffy would be fun. Like I think Luffy would be a fun character to have. Maybe who else? Who else would be a cool character? A cool anime character to put in there? Maybe
no JoJo, no Kenshiro.
One Punch Man would be fun to have. No, Roronoa Zoro from One Piece would be a fun character to have in there. But no mega characters, thank God. And here's the thing: there are 2 really fucking good Smash Brothers clones with mega characters in it. It's called Shonen Jump All Stars and Ultra Shonen Jump All Stars. One's for the DS and one's for the 3DS. There's also one that's came out recently that's like a 3D open world brawler, kind of like Naruto, the Naruto games, but it sucks. So if you're gonna play it, play the 2D ones on the DS and 3DS. They're much better. They're much better titles.
Oh yeah, and Nintendo has also responded that they're going to change the controversial Mr. Game & Watch animation in a patch.
Okay. Like here's the thing. It didn't really bother me, but like if people were offended by it, I would rather Nintendo take it out and put something else in, or just take it out entirely than have people be offended.
Yeah, I mean, Italians were offended by one of Inkling's animation in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because they made a gesture that was considered offensive to them.
Yeah, because in Italy, that gesture basically means up yours or go fuck yourself in Italian, and Europe in general. But I mean, it's like V for victory. If you do it backwards, like towards yourself in England, in the UK, means up your bum. It means go fuck yourself. It's like the middle finger in America. But
continue.
But I mean, I would rather them, like, I know people are like, well, it doesn't bother me, but it's not about you, right?
Right.
It's about a bigger audience, and Nintendo is a company, they want to make money. And they don't want to piss off their audience, so like a huge amount of the audience. So they took it out.
And right now, anti-SJW users like No BS and Review Tech USA are complaining about Nintendo caving into SJWs with this decision.
Okay, 3 things. First of all, I'm so fucking tired of people saying SJW. Look, okay. First of all, Social Justice Warrior is not a pejorative statement. Okay. People who made sacrifices and fought for the rights of other people who were downtrodden and taken advantage of, by definition, is a social justice warrior. Those people aren't bad. Like, that's not a bad thing within and of itself. And people using that as a pejorative statement is not bad. If you're like I said, second of all, these people are a business. They're trying to make money. This isn't about, trying to make friends or trying to make a statement. They're trying to make money. Okay. And they can't have a lot of bullshit, getting in the way of them making money. That's just business. What else? That's it. I got nothing else. And if they don't like it, don't buy the game. Although that's bullshit, because they're going to buy it any damn way.
Yeah. Moving on, moving away from all that controversy, I just found out that today's the 10th, and it was a few days ago was the 10th anniversary of the Flash game QWOP. Anyone remember that track and field game where you had to control every leg piece?
Yeah, I remember that. It's really hard.
Oh yes.
I was about to say, and that's what she said. Oh no, but in all seriousness, yeah, it's
Charming
a very difficult game. No one has beaten that game, if I remember correctly. Like, no one's beaten QWOP. Like, you can only get kind of far, and then it just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, and it has inspired some clones and other games with similar mechanics, like Surgeon Simulator, Octodad, I Am Bread.
Or that weird game with the mouse where you're this guy in a cauldron with a hammer.
Yeah,
you gotta kind of spin around. And
getting over it. That's made by the same guy as
QWOP. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this guy created an entire genre of games where you're never gonna win, and the whole point is just to get frustrated as hell while playing the game, which kind of defeats the point of playing games, because when you play games, you want to have fun.
And when fun is so hard, it hurts. Oh God.
I mean, the Castlevania games were hard, but they were also forgivable.
Yeah, but QWOP isn't even forgivable. It's just like, fuck you. Like, for me, Castlevania, especially the old school Castlevania games, aren't hard. It's just like each one has its own hook. Like, the first Castlevania game for the NES is like, the whip sucks. It's your default weapon and it sucks. So you have to learn when to use certain sub-weapons. Like, that's what really does the best damage, right? Like, the axe is really good for enemies that are above or below you. The knife is fast, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. The holy water is like a grenade. Like, you throw it and it basically, like, bosses walk into it. It's really powerful, but its range sucks. Then you have the clock, which stops time, which is pretty useful.
But doesn't that burn a lot of resource?
It uses a lot of hearts, but there's some enemies that, like, it's really good because it can also work on bosses, and it's really good on certain bosses where their weak spots exposed. You hit the thing, you go up and you whip the shit out of them for a time, do lots of damage, and then go back. So, like, every weapon has its pluses and minuses. And my personal favorite, the cross or the glaive, which you can throw and it hits enemies twice, right?
Well, it depends. If you put it in the right spot, it hits them multiple times than twice.
Well, I mean, if you get the scrolls that multiply it, yeah. But, I mean, typically speaking, like, you throw it, it goes across the screen, it comes back, right? It has a range and it comes back.
Yeah, but I was saying, if you put it in the right spot, as in at the height of the range, then it will hit them more than twice when they're in that certain spot, and then it comes back.
Yeah, and then you have Castlevania 2, Simon's Curse, which is this is the first Castlevania game that kind of had, like, pre-Metroidvania shit going on, because it was almost like an RPG. Like, you had to buy equipment and shit like that. And some people don't like that game. I personally like it because it has a really good rendition of Bloody Tears in it. And then you have Castlevania 3, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it has multiple characters, so some people like it. Then Super Castlevania 4, which is like my favorite Castlevania game, which switched it up because of the whip was no longer useless because you could whip in 8 different directions. And some weapons kind of lost their luster because, you know, you had a whip that could whip in 8 different directions, which negated the use of a lot of what?
And can be a hook shot.
Well, yeah, you can use it to traverse gaps and shit, which is a neat mechanic that they only use for like 4 levels in the game, but kind of falls apart a little bit. But still, it's a fun mechanic. But I mean, each Castlevania game up until they started turning to Metroidvanias, like the traditional 2D ones had their own hook. Like Castlevania Bloodlines is a return back to form, except they add the backflip. Your whip is not as shitty as it was in the first like few Castlevania games. But the big thing is that you have that like super attack you can use with your sub weapons that do massive area damage to the screen. Or to a certain area or whatever.
Hydro Star and Grand Cross.
Yeah, shit like that. The thing where you throw like 1,000 daggers, or you stop time for a longer time, or you nuke like the area with like friggin' holy water grenades, or the huge crosses you send around. I mean, you know, like each one had their own hook, and then it turned into a Metroidvania and it got weird. But I mean, like Castlevania was fair. It was hard, but it was fair. QWOP and Getting Over It are just like fuck you games where they're just like, well, you can't beat it. Fuck you. This game's designed to make you frustrated. Fuck you. This game's kind of hard. Fuck you. Deal with it. But that doesn't seem very.
And to think this is the type of difficult game that hardcore gamers have been asking for after years of playing games that are quote unquote too easy for them to beat.
I mean, I'm not going to go that far. I don't think that's the case. Like, I don't think that's the reason. I think difficulty is a fake. I think games being too easy is a fake concept that people have come up with in order to make themselves feel better about playing games of a certain caliber.
Right.
Because, I mean, your skill level does go up, but there's some games that I used to be able to be really good at that I'm not as good at it with anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And vice versa.
And that's because of age.
Not really.
Age
It's just
my rear end.
It's really about practice. Because there are games I used to play a lot, and then there are games that like I don't have anymore. Although that muscle memory is always kind of there, you know. But anyway, anything else you guys want to go over before we wrap things up?
Oh yeah, some Blizzard news. They apparently screwed up the lore a bit with
What did they do this time?
With McCree's age.
And what?
With McCree's age.
I don't know who that is.
The cowboy guy
from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
well, here's all I'll say about this. It doesn't seem Blizzard has been having a very good week.
Especially when do you guys not have cell phones comment?
Yeah, that whole thing was just a debacle. Like, you do not have a big announcement for a fucking mobile game. You don't do that. You don't do that as the main thing at BlizzCon. You don't do that. That's where they fucked up.
And Blizzard also says that they're quote unquote very open-minded regarding the possibility of bringing Overwatch to the Switch. Which, remember last time they said they thought it will be difficult to do so.
yeah, whatever. At this point, I'm just like, I'm tired of people with that shit, you know? It's like, we want to do it, but we can't. You know what I mean? I mean, they do that shit all the time. We want to do it,
but they're too lazy to do so.
like, we would love to have that on that system. I'm like, well, either do it or don't do it, or say you know, the possibility is there, but don't sit there. Oh, we're open about it. No, you're not, because if you were, you'd actually be doing something about it.
Are you kidding me? I just recently read just now that the Katamari Damacy remake is going to be GameStop exclusive in the US.
What?
Well, I won't be getting it.
Did I hear that right?
If it's GameStop, I'm not getting it because I don't fucking like GameStop. So
It's bad enough that I only go to GameStop at best to get cash cards, but come on.
I don't even go to GameStop for that.
It's really tempted me to sell my soul to the devil in order to get a game that I really love.
Nah, man.
Back in the day.
If I need Katamari Damacy, since I have my PS3, I'll just get it on PS3. I'm not fuck them. I'm not going. I'll just get the old one. You know.
Yeah.
Because I don't like GameStop. I don't like how they do business. I don't like how every time I go to GameStop, every time I've gone to GameStop in the past and bought something, I always feel like as I walk out the door, somehow I'm being screwed over. You know?
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure how. And I don't like that. So I don't go there anymore. But
and some more GameStop related news. They'll be selling Toki Retrolector Edition exclusively in North America.
Yeah. I remember playing Toki on the TurboGrafx 16. It's the game where you play the caveman who's been cursed and turned into an ape, and your method of attacking enemies is spitting on them. There was a time in the 16-bit era where every system had a game about cavemen or a monkey or a caveman monkey. It was weird. It was a weird time. We liked caveman monkeys. What can I say?
Oh yeah, and Prima Games is shutting down.
Yep. Well, I knew that. I knew that was coming.
I mean, a lot of gamers are cheering for them shutting down. In the sense, they found their strategy guides awful because of how inaccurate they can be in some places.
I mean, Prima Games has been around for 29 years. And it wouldn't be a stretch to say I kind of grew up with them. So, I mean, I'm not happy about them going away, but oh well.
And that's pretty much it.
All
By
right.
the sound of it, yeah.
Anything anyone wants to pimp out before we wrap things up?
I think I'm all right.
Okay. Pinky.
Well, I should mention that someone was able to get a copy of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee a week early, and was able to data mine everything. And what was revealed is that Pikachu has the better stats than Eevee overall. So lucky me that I pre-ordered the correct starter, the better version.
And that lets us all know that this game is bullshit, because anyone who knows anything about the stats of Pokemon knows that if you compare the base stats of Pikachu and Eevee, Eevee is a better Pokemon. Jesus fucking Christ.
I was going to say, but what do you...
It's because this Pikachu and this Eevee are unable to evolve, which is why they had to buff up those stats specifically for those two. Otherwise, the regular Pikachus and Eevees you catch, they use their normal stats rather than the updated their upgraded stats.
So what you're saying is that you're essentially getting, like, with these Pokemon, you're essentially getting Gary's Eevee and Ash's Pikachu.
Yes.
You know, that super Pikachu that can use lightning, that can use Thunderbolt on a rock type Pokemon and somehow KO. You know, that Pikachu.
Yes, that Pikachu.
Well, I'm glad I didn't pre-order this shit. That's all I gotta say. I mean, I wasn't gonna get it anyway, because I'm just like, I was like, when they were trying to sell it, I was like, yeah, this is not doing anything for me. But so, anything else anyone wants to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
I'm good.
Okay, I guess I'm the last one. So, Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish will return.
Eventually.
Well, I mean, I'm going to try and do it this week around Wednesday or Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, because basically my time has been insane. Like, basically, I've been working till like 12 on to like after 12 this holiday season. And when you add in commute, it's like well after 12. So by the time I get home, I'm basically dead to the world on the weekends. But this Sunday is a rare one. Like, Sunday is the only one where I kind of don't have to really do anything. So I'm going to have to move Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish from Saturday to sometime in the week. So, well, I might like pre-record it or something. I'll figure out something. So with that being said, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. So that's cool and all. So peace.
Peace, guys.